Hello, and welcome back to the Think Swink podcast, your source for the latest trends, strategies, insights, and anything in the marketing world. I'm your host, Shalina, and today we're diving into the topic that is often underestimated, which is consistency. In marketing, you must be consistent. Consistency in marketing is one of the most fundamental principles that often separates successful brands from those that struggle to connect with their audience. When we talk about consistency, we mean delivering a cohesive message to somebody, whether that's a business, whether that's a person. You want to be able to develop a cohesive message, and you want to maintain you want to maintain an ununified brand look, meaning that you want to stand out. You want to stand out from the crowd. You want to make sure that how your business, product, or service is shining is different from others. And while you're doing that, you want to offer a seamless customer experience. And I know some of you may say, well, how is that relevant? Well, it helps with your consistency. If your sales process is not streamlined, then your marketing process more than likely won't be streamlined as well. So those two things are very important. So you want to make sure that you're offering a seamless customer experience across all platforms. So if that's on social media, if that's on your website, or even on email marketing, or even in the store, it's up to you. So keep in mind, whether you're building a business or managing a large enterprise, you want to make sure that you're keeping your message and your visuals aligned with your brand. I'm going to say it again. Keeping your message and visuals aligned with your brand. So you want to make sure that your brand values are together, because those are one of the major keys to building trust, credibility, and recognition over time. So as we go through today's episode, we'll explore why consistency matters when it comes to marketing and when it comes to your brand. Okay? All right. So now let's just go ahead and get into brand recognition. Why consistency matters. So let's start talking about brand recognition. When you think about big brands or common brands, you ultimately think about stuff like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Nike's. What do all these brands have in common, right? They instantly are recognizable because they have been consistent in how they presented themselves throughout the years to the world. So let's take Coca-Cola, for example. Coca-Cola has kept the same red and white color scheme since the 1880s. So the 1800s. So over the course of the year, they've tweaked their logo, they've tweaked their packaging, they've even changed their slogans a few times. But that red and white scheme has been consistent until recent years. But this has brought them a level of recognition that most have not seen. And it's also been one of the most consistent companies that has been around for a very, very long time, right? But the principle remains the same. The more that you're consistent with your brand, how it looks, and the sounds, how it feels, the experience that your customer gets, right? You will be successful. They will be able to recognize you, and they will be able to trust you. Okay? And building trust. Make sure that when you're building trust with your potential customer or existing customer, you want to make sure that you're giving them a good product or service. You're giving them a good experience, that their honest dollar is worth this thing. So make sure that you're also doing honest work out there as business owners and as marketers. We want to make sure that we too stay consistent, right? So let's get into visual consistency. So When you talk about visual consistency, when you think about it, you think about the typography, like the fonts and stuff, the colors, the logo. Just think about it. If you're using a different color palette on Instagram than you are using on your website, or different font choices, you risk confusing your audience. Did you know that? So, everything that these major businesses that we talked about earlier, Coca-Cola, Nike, they are consistent across all platforms. So make sure that you write that down, because when someone is researching you, they are looking for consistency, and they are looking for a way to build some type of trust with you. So that's reviews, okay? Let's let's just dive into trust for a little bit here. So the second reason why consistency matters is it helps build trust, right? We all know that trust is one of the hardest things to earn in business and in marketing. It's something you simply cannot place a dollar on. Think about it from a consumer's perspective. If every time you interacted with your brand, whether it's through a newsletter or social media or a physical store, you are met with a cohesive, reliable experience, and you're more likely to trust that brand because of that. You know what to expect, so there's no cognitive dissonance, right? So that just makes it easier for us to build a stronger connection, as to where a lack of consistency can be jarring. Imagine following a brand on social media where they have used playful, casual tone, but then you receive an email that's overly formal and serious. It's gonna make you be a little confused about the experience with this potential company, right? Wouldn't you agree? I know I would feel kind of off if, I'm ordering from Walmart, and Walmart is sending me all this bubbly emails, and then one day I get this staunch email, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is not this brand that I was dealing with. Okay, so let's just talk more about the customer experience since we're already kind of there. So brands that provide a consistent customer experience across all touch points are more successful. I can't say that enough. This just goes beyond marketing. It involves into an interaction with your customer as your brand, from browsing to your website, or just customer support, or face to face. Like if you guys own Apple, like an Apple device or iPhone or something like that, Apple is a good example for this. Whether you're shopping in an Apple store, using their website, or calling their support team, you notice that it feels cohesive, right? It feels the same. It kind of flows. The design, it's the way they designed their customer experience. So it's the way the employees speak to you. It's how customer service follow up. It's all a part of that customer experience, and you have to stay consistent across that in order to build those strong relationships and have those great customer experiences for your customer, right? Because customers don't want to feel like they're dealing with multiple companies they interact with. You know what I mean? They're interacting with your brand, and you don't want to make them feel like they're not dealing with the same person. So you want to make sure that it's cohesive, and Apple does just that. Does just that. So now that we've gotten through the consistency and getting there, how to stay consistent. And I think that's when a lot of business owners kind of just throw in the towel, because you have to stay consistent with so many things. However, it can happen. So now that we've established consistency, let's talk about how to actually maintain it. So the first step is creating a comprehensive brand guidelines. So again, when you're building your business, all of this stuff should probably be all laid out as a guide for you, and it makes it a little bit more easier. But if you hadn't, you can go on ahead and develop your own brand guidelines, your own marketing plan, strategy, all of that jazz, all of that good stuff, because it's going to help you stay organized and therefore stay consistent. So brand guidelines, also known as Brand style guides, it's the blueprint of your identity. So this is going to be everything from your logo, your color palette, your typography, your imagery, to your brand voice, the tone, your values. It's like the rule book for anyone who creates content or interacts with your customers on behalf of your brand. So, for example, Starbucks, for instance, has a robust set of guidelines actually that ensures consistency across all 33,000 plus stores globally. So, whether you're in New York or you're in Tokyo, Starbucks will guarantee you to have the same experience remarkably. It'll be very, very similar, if not exactly the same. They maintain consistency in design elements, the store layout, presentation, all of that. It's the same. So it's not just about the visuals either, it's also about the tone. What tone of voice are you using with your brand, and does that align with the visuals? Are you fun? Are you playful? Do you maintain a more like serious tone? Document these elements, write them down, talk to your team, make sure you communicate with your social media manager so that when they're communicating on your brand's behalf across the board, it's all consistent. It's all consistent. And that's what you want. You want to make sure that your brand is consistent. Okay, so let's talk, as we're talking more about consistency, let's talk about brand audits, because this also will help you be able to stay consistent. And I want to try to make this simple as possible when it comes to audit, because most people, you and I, in the beginning of our business, it's intimidating to hear audit. The word audit, tax audit, brand audit, business audit, any audit seems to be scary. So the next step into maintaining consistency is conducting a brand audit. And what do I mean by a brand audit? Essentially, it's just a simple evaluation of all of your current marketing and customer facing materials. We're just making sure that it aligns with the brand. You'd be surprised how easy it is for your brand to drift away over time because you've been experimenting with different tones, styles, feels. You saw this on TikTok, now you want to try this. You saw this on Facebook, now you want to try that. You watched a YouTube video and now they're saying that you should do this. But when you look back at it, it's very inconsistent. So you want to do an audit and clean up whatever doesn't go with your current brand. I'm not saying you have to go 2 and 3 years back. You just need to 3 to 6 months, 3 to 6 months or something like that, just to go back and make sure that everything is cohesive and it aligns with your brand. Okay, so a brand audit, it helps you catch up on all the inconsistencies, right? These tools to help you do stuff like that, like HubSpot, SEM Rush, which allows you to analyze your brand's online presence, which is important. Check for consistency in visuals, messaging. Again, you just want to go through all of those things, and because you want to make sure that you're sending a unified message across all platforms. Most consumers nowadays interact with brands on multiple platforms, whether it's their direct customer service, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, newsletters. All of those things require slightly different content formats for you to get out your core message to your audience. So it's the same, but is it the same? So it's just a little tweaks and stuff. For example, so while your tone on LinkedIn may be more professional and serious and staunch compared to your casual flow, funny flow on Instagram, it's different, but the same message, the message is the same. One way to ensure that you kind of have these things all lined up so you don't get confused is to just simply plan out your content. Do 30 days of planning, 60 days, 90 days of planning, everything down to the reels, the TikToks, and I know it sounds crazy, but it works. I've encouraged clients to do this before, and I even do it myself, to just sit there, for a couple of hours and record, and you plan it out. And as you need to add in between that, you can. And it's okay. It's totally okay. So I hope that I was able to help you with consistency. And just to wrap things up, consistency is in marketing. It's not about slapping your logo on everything and just, this is me, this is my brand. It's about building a cohesive experience that connects to your brand with your audience at every touch point. So whether it's through visuals, maintaining a tone of voice, ensuring a seamless customer experience, consistency is a powerful tool that can help elevate your marketing strategy. And I encourage it in your marketing. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Think Sweet podcast. I hope that you found this discussion helpful, and I encourage you to be consistent. Join us next week as we explore another topic, and it could be of your choice. Just drop it down in the comments below, and that may be the topic of discussion. Until next time.